Does adding the maximum amount of case fans to a PC case affect the temperatures of the CPU? Let's find out. So right here I have IDA64 running a stress test. Ignore the temps on IDA64 because on Ryzen Master and Hardware Monitor the max temps seem to be 80 degrees Celsius and the current is around 70 degrees Celsius, so I don't know why it's like this, but anyways, let's just install some fans on the side panel and turn the fans on top and in front on because I've left them off because they're just really loud. I don't have a fan controller. Well, I have one I bought recently, but it seems to be a hub because I can't actually control any of the fans I plug into it. But anyways, let's get these fans installed.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story, and I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Alright, so the fans have been installed and are running at maximum speed. In total, this case has 5 fans, not including the CPU and power supply. I have the side fans set to exhaust along with the other top fan exhausting any extra air. All that's left to do is run IDA64 for roughly half an hour, see what results I get. Also, if you didn't know, my CPU is the Ryzen 3 2200G APU at an overclock of 3.85 GHz and the Vega 8 at 1300 MHz. Anyways, let's run the stress test and see what happens. So, it's been about over a half an hour now, and the results are in. The max was 77 degrees Celsius, it idled at around 30 degrees Celsius, which is about 10 degrees cooler than it usually is. But the thing I noticed is that it went up to 77, but went back down to the higher to lower 60s. That has these occasional spikes in temperature, possibly because of the voltage being inadequate for my overclock. Well, now that I think about it, it can't be right. But anyways, let's rotate the fans so they can be blowing air directly on the CPU, leaving the rear exhaust alone.
Yep, it's made with bits of real panther, so you know it's good.
It's quite pungent.
Oh yeah.
It stings the nostrils. In a good way.
Yeah.
Brian, I'm gonna be honest with you, that smells like pure gasoline.
60% of the time, it works. Every time.
That doesn't make sense.
So, after a little over half an hour of stressing the CPU, we can see that flipping the fans didn't exactly do much to cool down the CPU. If anything, it raised the temperatures a few degrees. The only benefit from this is that the hard drives are pretty cool, staying at the lower 30s. And my VRMs are probably not as toasty, but I don't have the tool to test that. So anyways, does adding more case fans improve the cooling of the CPU? Yes and no. This is a Ryzen CPU with a fairly powerful GPU on board, so it does run hotter than a typical CPU, whether it be from Intel or AMD. My cooler is also a tower style cooler, so the only real way to get added cooling without having to swap the cooler would be mounting the fans on either side of the cooler, which I could save for another video, but now that I have that thought, let's just grab some painter's tape, because that's the best option I have, and see what we can really do. And yeah, that was a waste of time. Not only did temperatures stay the same, when I peeled off the tape from the cooler, it ruined the perfect Arctic sticker on both sides. Anyways, in all seriousness though, this cooler was only made to have a single fan. If you want to cool your system better, See if your CPU cooler can support an additional fan mounted on either side, get an AIO water cooler, or just don't do anything if your temps are fine. Now, overall, the results were still very, very good, considering the 2020G was overclocked on both CPU and GPU, and the max temperatures were way under 90 degrees Celsius. You also have to take into consideration your case and the amount of airflow it has. I have to do another video on that, but anyways, if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. If you didn't, you know where to go. While you're there, consider subscribing to the channel. Anyways, thanks for watching and I'll see you later.